so much on our sensation. We depend on memories, on opinions. We have so many fears which we want covered up. All these create contradiction in ourselves. And when the contradiction becomes unbearable, one goes off its head. One wants peace, and everything that one does creates war. Not only in the family, but outwardly. And instead of understanding what creates conflict, we only try to become more and more one thing or the other, the opposite. And thereby create greater cleavage. So, is it possible to understand why there is contradiction in ourselves? Not only outwardly, but much more deeply, psychologically, inwardly. First of all, is one aware that one lives a contradictory life? We want peace, we are nationalists. We want to avoid this social misery, and yet each one of us is so individualistic, limited, self-enclosing. So we are constantly living in contradiction. Why? Is it not because we are slaves to sensation? Which is not just matter to be denied or accepted. It requires a great deal of understanding. What are the implications of sensation? Which are desires? We want so many things, all in contradiction with each other. We have so many masks in contradiction with each other. And we take on a mask when it suits us. And deny it when something else is more profitable, more pleasurable. It is this state of contradiction that creates the lie. And in opposition to that, we create the truth. But surely truth is not the opposite of lie. That which has an opposite is not true. The opposite contains its own opposite. Therefore it is not true. And to understand this problem very profoundly, one must be aware of all the contradictions in which we live. When I say I love you, with it goes jealousy, envy, anxiety, fear. Which is a contradiction. And it is this contradiction that must be understood. And one can understand it only when one is aware of it. Aware without any condemnation or justification, merely to look at it. And to look at it passively, one has to understand all the process of justification and condemnation. So it is not just an easy problem to look passively at something. And in understanding that, one begins to understand the whole process of the way of one's feeling and thinking. And when one is aware the full significance of contradiction in oneself, it does bring an extraordinary change. One is oneself then, not something which you are trying to be. Not an ideal, not a seeking happiness. You are what you are, and then from there proceed. Then there is no possibility of contradiction. I feel sincerely, I desire to help people, and I think I can help. But whatever I say or do to another is interpreted as interference and as domineering. So I am thwarted by others and feel myself frustrated. Why does this happen to me? I feel sincerely, I desire to help people, and I think I can help. But whatever I say or do to another is interpreted as interference and as domination. So I am thwarted by others and feel myself frustrated. Why does this happen to me? What is it when we mean by help another? What do we mean by that word? Like the word service, what does it mean? You go to the gas station and he serves, you pay him. But he uses the word serve, like all the business people. All the commercial people use that word. And is not those who also wish to serve, have they are not also the same spirit? They want to help if you give them also something. That is, they want to help you in order to fulfill themselves. And when you resist, you begin to criticize, they feel frustrated. In other words, they are not really helping you. Through help, through service, they are fulfilling themselves. In other words, they are seeking self-fulfillment under the guise of help and service, which when thwarted, gets angry, begins to gossip, begins to tear you to pieces. Which is obvious fact, is it not? And can you not help and serve another without asking anything? Which is most difficult, which is not just easy, say yes, it can be done. When you give something to somebody, a few $100, haven't you something with which you are tied? Don't you tie that $100? Hasn't it a tail? Can you give and forget? This giving from the heart is real generosity. But the generosity of the hand has always something to be held. It holds. And similarly, those who want to help, when they are prevented for various reasons, feel frustrated, feel lost. They won't stand criticism. It's misrepresented, mistranslated, misinterpreted. Because through their anxiety to help you, they are fulfilling themselves. So the problem is there self-fulfillment? Is it not? From that arises next question. Is there self-fulfillment? Is not that word self-fulfillment contradiction? When you want to fulfill yourself in something, what is that something in which you are fulfilling? Is it not self-rejection? Say, I want to help you. I use the word help, but which covers my desire for self-fulfillment. What happens when I have such a desire? I neither help you nor fulfill. Because to fulfill means with most of us to have pleasure in doing something which gives me gratification. In other words, self-fulfillment is gratification, is it not? Superficial or permanent gratification. As long as I am seeking gratification, which I call self-fulfillment, can gratification be permanent? Obviously not. Surely, when we talk about self-fulfillment, we mean a gratification that is more deep, more profound than the superficial. And can gratification ever be permanent? And as it can never be permanent, we are changing our self-fulfillment. At one period it is this, and later it is that. And ultimately we say my fulfillment must be in God, in reality. Which is reality we make as a permanent gratification. So in other words, we are seeking gratification when we talk about self-fulfillment. And instead of saying, I want to help you in order to gratify myself, which would be too crude and we are too subtle for that, we say, I want to serve you. I want to help you. And when you are prevented, I feel lost, I feel frustrated, angry, irritated. Under the guise of help, service, we do a lot of monstrous things. Deceptions, illusions. Therefore, those words need examination, like self-fulfillment, like help, like service. And when we really understand it, not just